Hello there, my name is Peter Thompson and this is one of my teaching DVDs, and this one is about the lie angle. The lie angle of a golf club is quite simply the way the club lies on the ground, and the angle is this one. Club flat on the ground, and the lie angle is now whatever the angle is between the head and the shaft. The lie angle is a dynamic angle. In other words, you can't measure the angle for your swing when the club is static on the ground. If I did set the club flat on the ground, as it is now, then my grip's wrong, my arms are wrong, my shoulders are wrong, and the swing will be wrong. Because what happens in the swing is this. We address the ball with the toe, and this bit's the toe, and this bit's the heel, and this bottom bit is the sole of the club. So at address, toe in the air. When we swing down, there's a dynamic movement of the club head moving away from you, which is what you want. You can't stop that happening, and you wouldn't want to, so you have to allow for that to happen. So when you address the ball, toe in the air, when you hit the ball, the club will be flat on the ground, if the angle is correct for your swing. Let me show you a couple of brilliant golfers. Els. Most people like Els, great guy, great swing. And I took this film myself at the Masters in 2004. And we're going to show you what I mean by dynamic lie angles. So the toe of the club is in the air, the white line is on the shaft at address. When he hits the ball, it's going to change dramatically. So about to hit the ball now, lie angle is now flat because the hands have moved upwards and outwards because of the speed of the swing. You can't change that. You want that to happen. And because you can't change it, you have to allow for it. There's the club, flat, and that's the dynamic lie angle has changed quite dramatically. I'm going to leave this line on the screen and bring up Tiger Woods when he was phenomenally good. Well, I guess he still is, but a few years ago he was a magician. So the angle of the shaft for only Els and for Tiger Woods is the same. So we'll see. Loads and loads of club head speed coming up. Great swing. And the hands have moved a long way out. So the club, we can't see the club head because the shutter speed is not very good, but the toe of the club was in the air, the club is now flat on the ground. And one interesting thing about the swing, which I'll show you, is this. As the hands are moving out, his head has moved back. His head's moved back to counteract the fact that his hands are moving out. The distance from his head to the line, the distance from the hands to this line is virtually the same. That's what dynamic lie angles are. So that's going to happen in your swing with a putter. It won't, because there's no real speed. The shaft of the putter set in the head almost vertically, not quite, and the putter is now flat on the ground. You will hardly ever find a good putter who has the heel down or the toe down. They all have it flat on the ground. They then assemble themselves around the putter. Inside, straight through. I made this a long time ago. It's a wooden head, far down to zero, to show people how the loft angle, or in this case lack of loft angle, will affect the direction of the shot. So, stick pointing straight. If the heel is too low, the ball still goes straight, and if the toe is too low, the ball still goes straight. So with no loft, which is useless for a golf club anyway, but with no loft, this is purely a demonstration, with no loft the lie angle isn't important, but the club is useless. So now we'll introduce loft. This one's maybe 55 degrees to loft. Ball's going to go pretty high. Club flat on the ground. If the toe, for whatever reason, is too low, the ball will go to the right, and if the heel is too low, the ball will go to the left. You can improve your golf by having all the lie angles of all of your clubs set to your swing. And the more loft, the more important the lie angle is. Club flat on the ground, ball straight, toe down, ball right, heel down, ball left, and that will happen. I've sold many sets of clubs to people that I've made myself for them, and I always set these angles so they're all matching. You want all the angles from the driver through to the wedges to match each other, and more importantly than that, to match your swing. If you're just starting to play golf, this you might find a bit confusing, which I guess it is, but if you are starting to play golf, or you maybe want to change your clubs, and you go along to a shop or wherever you go to buy your clubs, if the person sending you the clubs suggests that when you address the ball, the club should be flat on the ground, then I would imagine that person hasn't been told or learned about dynamic loft. And I would not recommend you buying clubs from somebody who's going to let you stand to the ball with the club flat on the ground at address. It needs to be there. When you hit the ball, there. Heel down, there. So if you address the ball with the club flat on the ground, your stance is wrong. And then this still might happen. Your hand will still go out slightly and the ball will go to the right. Very important, very misunderstood. I'm going to show you two of my pupils now. This young man got down to +2. So turn in the air slightly, white line on the shaft. Superb takeaway. And hitting the ball into the net. Josh wasn't interested in where the ball went, he wanted to get the swing right. which is my philosophy entirely. When he hits the ball, club flat on the ground, hands have lifted. That's what's going to happen in the swing. That's what you want to happen. Don't change it, just allow for it. And another of my pupils, Martin Young, he got down to +4. This is in my studio, and the doors are open on this day, and we can see down the range. So again, toe clearly in the air, white line on the shaft, this angle, this is a 6-iron, and the angle of the shaft to the ground with the 6-iron is about 54 degrees, and that's exactly what it is. It changes from club to club, but sort of medium irons, 6 irons, 7 irons, 5 irons, about 54 degrees. Good backswing, very square, everything looking good. Bang, hitting the ball, club now flat on the ground, the lie angle is flat on the ground, but again the hands are lifted. The more speed, the more they will lift, the less speed, the less they will lift, and the more loft you have, the more important the lie angle is. Good swing. Taught him for, 15 years now. So you can improve your golf, almost guaranteed improve your golf, by getting these angles fitted to your swing. Some clubs, however, the metal is so hard that whoever the fitter is, they won't be able to bend them. There are lots and lots of clubs around made out of a slightly softer metal, which you can bend. Every pro golfer I've ever taught or ever seen will always have these lie angles exactly right for their swing, and they'll sometimes change them slightly. If they change their swing a little bit, they might change their angle by 1 or 2 degrees. Very important. So you need a dynamic lie angle, which means toe in the air at address, club flat on the ground when you hit the ball. Please try and find someone who can do that for you, and without changing your swing you will definitely improve your golf, especially with the shorter clubs, and they're pretty important. If you're hitting a wedge or a sand wedge into the green and the lie angle is wrong for your swing, then the ball will go right or left, and you can make them go straighter, not by changing your swing, change the lie angles. I've got a machine over here in the corner of my studio, and that machine will just check and bend lie angles and loft angles. So please find someone who can do that for you. And if your swing does change, and if you have lessons with me or anyone else and your swing has changed, get the lie angles changed again. Very, very important. I hope this helps. I'm sure it will, and thank you for listening. Thank you very much.